Let's talk about the basic elements of performance. So, performing as an actor, you have three tools. You have your body that helps to visually tell a story. You have your voice that helps you to have an audible story, and you have your imagination, which is that's the difference between somebody that's just standing up there saying lines and somebody that looks like it's really them saying the lines, is how good is their imagination. I had a great friend in my theater program that used to say, you act you imagine, you do such a good job of imagining, and then you have an 100% real reaction to whatever the imagined circumstances are. That's really what performance is. Performance is when we on stage we're somewhere else. We are performing something else for the audience. And one term that gets used a lot is the fourth wall. So I'll say that to my students all the time. I'll say, this is a fourth wall moment, or face yourself out to the fourth wall. The fourth wall that's where the audience is facing. So wherever they're sitting, that's your fourth wall. And instead of facing in profile, when you're talking to another person on stage, we try to block people or move, tell them where to stand so that they're facing more of the fourth wall. And the thing about theater is it's asking the audience to imagine things as well. So we may say, just pretend that you have this prop, or just pretend that you're skiing on this stage that everybody knows that you're not really on a mountain. Everybody knows that you're not really skiing. But because they've come to watch a performance, they willingly let go of disbelief. It's called the willing suspension of disbelief. We will believe that I believe you're pretending to do that. And so you pretend that that's what's happening. And if the actors are good enough, and if the performance seems real enough, when things happen on stage, we can be affected by them. As we're the audience, we look at them and we think, oh my gosh, you really cry with them, or you really laugh with them. And those are all things that are based on how good is that actor's imagination? How good are they doing with that? So those three tools are things that we're going to learn a lot more about in depth in the next couple of weeks. But they are voice, body, and imagination. You need to know that those are the basic elements of performance. And then the other piece is that the audience is asked to willingly suspend their disbelief. They're asked to believe that when you hold up, your hand like this, that you really have a cup there, that's really something that exists, even though they know it's not there. So that's kind of the basic elements of performance. And you'll notice that if you've got a friend, or if you have a family member that's a really good storyteller, they do all three of these things really, really instinctively. They have the facial expressions of what they were doing in the situation, and they kind of like act out physically what they were doing in the situation to help you know better what it looked like. I do this, I get told this all the time by the other teachers that I teach with when I tell stories about things that happen in my classroom. They're like, you're so fun to watch because you act it out. And I was like, well, yeah, that's my background. My background is in performance. And so to me, when I'm telling a story, the easiest and best way to do it is to show people, well, this is what they were standing like, and this is how they were walking, and this is what they sound like. And so I change my voice to match that person, and I change my posture to match that person. And that's all just because I kind of imagine them in my head, and it just sort of happens naturally for me. And that's what I'm asking you guys ways to be able to do in this class is to really imagine that you are the characters that you will end up playing in here, that you are really in the places that you have several monologues that you're going to do, and that you really are that person. So those elements are those three actors, three tools, and that what we're asking the audience to do is to let go of their disbelief.